Hello, quite a few of you have been sending me emails or putting messages down below asking about wedding photography and what stuff you need and what stuff's kind of useful and helpful. So I thought I'd do a quick one of giving you a video of the stuff that's handy for it. It's pretty much everything that's been reviewed before, and there's lots of other websites and information out there for good wedding photography stuff to have, but I thought I'd just give you what I use. So, to start off with, let's have a look at my selection. Okay, so this is roughly all the stuff that you need. Let's start with the most important things. 1, a camera. 2, a second camera. Now, the reason why having a second camera is a good thing is because at a wedding, it can be quite fast-paced. If you're having to change all the time, but your lenses on the one camera you've got, you're potentially going to lose a lot of photos. So I would always recommend having a very wide angle lens. For example, the Sigma 10-20 or this one, which is the Tokina 11-16 f2.8. F2.8 meaning it's a nice bright lens, and 11-16 means it's really nice and wide on a DX body. So having that on one camera, and then maybe having your zoom lens. So for example, on my other camera, the Fujifilm, I've got my Nikon 18-200mm VR. That's good. The thing is, with the 18-200, it's not very bright because it's not an f2.8. But you do have that extra long reach, which is good. So if you're in a church where you've got a long distance to try and shoot, it's good for that. But I will always recommend a more professional lens, like a 70-200mm lens with an f2.8, because that'll be great inside the churches. In some weddings, you can be quite close to that action, so you're not stuck away in a pier miles away, or up in the altar, or in the bell tower or whatever. You can actually get away with just having maybe a normal lens, like my other one is the Nikon 50mm lens, which for my last wedding I used this. I used my 11-16mm, and the other lens was my fisheye. So let's go back to this review here. So great thing for the wedding has to be a Nikon 50mm f1.4. Why? It's great for portraits. It's brilliant for low light photography. Having an f1.4, you'll get sharp, fast shots even in very, very low light inside churches. And being f1.4, if you go outside and you do some of those portrait shots, so group photos and all that, you can have brilliantly smooth, buttery background just behind the group that you're taking a photo of. The other thing I'd say is the fisheye. The Nikon, for this one I've got the Nikon 10.5mm, but any fisheye I think is good. Why I say use this? Well, because it gives you really creative photos, something which none of the other guests' photos will have, because they'll be with their point and shoot or their normal digital SLRs. But having a fisheye is great, again for interiors, also for group shots. If you don't have much space, you can do group shots, or of the bride, maybe not of the bride getting ready because you don't want her to look distorted or anything, but of the guys getting close up with the guy in the front with his best men behind him. This turns out pretty good. It's also an f2.8 as well, so that means it's nice and bright. So inside the church, again, works really well. Another lens which is quite handy is a macro lens. So for example, I have my Sigma 105mm 2.8. That will be great for shots of close-ups of stuff like the rings, the shoes, of the details to the wedding breakfast, the meal after the wedding, getting shots of the flowers, getting shots of the cutlery, getting shots of the drinks, of the guests from the presents, guests from the people that come along. This comes in nice and handy as well, and because you get so close and it's an f2.8, again it gives it a really shallow depth of field, so it gives it nice, really buttery, soft backgrounds, which a normal lens and a normal camera wouldn't get. Other main things, can't leave without one of these. You will always get dust on the front of your lens, so having one of these things to squeeze, great. Flashes, very important. I have now got the SB900 and the SB800. So sticking one on each camera is the best move. I would say you could use your flashes to great effect outside for the group shots. If you're outside getting the group shots, what you really need is one of these. Obviously a little bit tangled up. This is kind of a hot shoe for your flash and your camera. You stick this end into the top of your camera, this end into the bottom of your flash, and then you can hold your flash in lots of different positions. I'll show you. So here's the camera. Then you stick this in here, lock it, your flash, this in here, turn your flash on, turn your camera on, and now you've got a flash. Go, especially if you're doing a group shot, you don't want it to be straight on, maybe having it out here like this, Other thing that's very important is having extra battery packs for your camera. I would say you should always go with more batteries than you think you'll need. But having these on standby is always great. Tripod, yeah, it weighs a ton, so you don't really want to be carrying that around a lot. So if you've got a place where you can put your equipment, you can put your tripod down, that's good. But if you're wandering around a church, it's not that great. A monopod would be a better idea, got one. But at the same time, if you can, do it handheld. If you can just put the ISO up, if you can have a nice fast lens, like 50 f1.4, tripods really aren't needed, even for the group shots outside. Say most of the time you want to have the freedom to walk around with the camera and not be lugging around a giant tripod. Cleaning cloths. Bag to hold your minor stuff. I'll go along with my giant bag, got all the spaces for camera, lens, flash lens. When I'm actually at the wedding, I don't want to be carrying around with that giant rucksack, so I'll have this. Maybe one camera around my neck, maybe even have them both around my neck. Keep another one in the bag. So a camera in there, maybe an extra lens. The main thing is try and keep it simple and not put loads and loads of around your neck and you just get all muddled up. This, if you don't know already, this is actually a flash stand. Well, it's just a stand which you can attach your flash to on the top. And that can be very handy for doing photos maybe after the first dance and it gets a little bit dark outside. You can take the bride and groom outside and do a lovely portrait of them out. Now with that, you may also want to get an umbrella. An umbrella to stick on the stand for your flash to go on, so then you've got a much better, smoother light. Filters. Great for outside. If you're doing outside portraits, having these filters, these are graduated neutral density filters. First of all, you get this bit, which screws on to the front of your camera, or front of your lens. You get one of these, which is one of the filters. On this camera, probably won't show anything. If you hold it up still, that should look fine. But then, so what you want is you want it halfway across like that. You have all the people along the bottom, along here, and then if it's really bright sunshine sky, you have this over, so then it means you still get some details in the sky shots, and it's not just a big blown out white blob. And that's it. I don't think you really need anything else for a wedding. It may seem like a lot of stuff to some people, but to some other people it'll seem like hardly anything. If you can afford all this stuff, I would say go for it, get it as soon as you can, and get out there doing some weddings. Hope that helps. Cheers. Bye bye.